Relevant Recruiter Group, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Happy post-ish kind of election day. Welcome to another live session with myself, Donnie Gupton. Today I've got a phenomenal guest. I've got a client of mine, Christina Martins, that's joining me today. And we have got a fun little show. Christina's going to share her journey with the Relevant Recruiter method. But more importantly, with all this chaos going on in the country right now with the lack of results in our election, this is the perfect way for you to unplug and get connected and hear Christina's journey, because you're going to really enjoy it. Christina, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Donnie. It's great to be here, and it was a crazy evening last night. It's good to just kind of get out of that headspace and join you live.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all we can do, right? Just focus on what we can control right now, and right now we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. So I'm very grateful for your program, because it really has allowed me to focus and really dive deep within my passion, which is recruitment, and give me another outlet, to really just soar during these times, because it's really a difficult time to navigate through for a lot of people. And regardless, our economy is still hiring, which is wonderful to hear and see. And we're very thankful for you.
Well, thank you. Awesome. I'm looking forward to talking more about that, and love working with you and Mike. And I know we're just scratching the surface. So before we get into all that fun stuff, give us a little bit of background. How did you get into the recruiting industry?
So upon graduation from college, I actually was recruited by a large international chain recruiting firm. And I had the opportunity to be in a CPA firm during college. I have my accounting degree. I loved accounting from a technical background, but loved people even more. We're interfacing with the clients and delivering those audit results, delivering the tax returns, explaining the results. So recruitment was an ideal match. And I started my career on Wall Street and was there for a few years back in New York City. It was a wonderful time in the late 90s and early 2000s. And just ended up, when we were going to have children, exploring opportunities. I was with other larger regional companies, went in-house. One of our clients recruited me in-house to be their regional recruiting manager, and just love that too. But definitely wanted to start my own business. Always had that passion, wanted to get the behind the scenes, managing a P&L and a budget prior to doing so. And 2005, we went live with Martins Investment Group, and it's been wonderful ever since.
Awesome. That's so cool. What have been some of the challenges that you went through over the years, transitioning from being kind of just a recruiter to owning your own business?
Yeah, so definitely times of the economy, the housing debacle back in 2007, 2008, that was tough for us. Going through recessions and surviving those recessions. And the one thing that really kept us afloat and kept our business thriving and successful was the personal aspect of it, was really identifying with our clients on a personal level and connecting with them. I can honestly say that our clients are our friends. We keep that business relationship solid, but we're also very much in tune to their personal lives, what they're passionate about outside of work. And we take every recruiting engagement to heart. I mean, it's our livelihood, of course, first and foremost, but secondary, we're relationship driven. So we're not here to just get that position filled and move on. We're here for the long term.
Yep. That's awesome. And before we got on the call, I could hear your kids in the background. I mean, and I know we're all going through, but how has been working from home and running a business from home while you have 3 little ones, trying to do school from home, being a mom? I mean, tell us a little bit about that, because I know that's a hell of a journey right now.
Yes. And I'm so sorry for the extra noise. They're breaking for lunch now, but it's more of a challenge for them than I think for me. Of course, sharing a space and whatnot, you have to get creative and things of that nature. But the social aspect of them not being on campus and interfacing with the teachers and their friends has definitely been a challenge. And I do the best I can to just navigate both worlds and mesh them together successfully. They've got a great group of friends. We've been playing it safe. We don't go to crowded places. and things like that. But I'm definitely allowing them to, have some social interaction from a safe perspective.
Yeah. I think we definitely have to find some balance with all that stuff, I mean, especially with the kids. I mean, I know my kids are just chomping at the bit to go out and live again, like the rest of us adults, like the rest of us adults. And I mean, we're in California, so it's a little bit different world here. We're definitely, there's a little bit more stricter, regulations and lockdown than a lot of the country. But, I think that we got to keep our kids active.
And thankfully our weather allows us to, so.
Exactly. Well, for the next couple of months, hopefully, right?
Right.
But well, great. As you have transitioned, I mean, what are some of the things that you've noticed over the years from when you started your company back in the early 2000s to where we are now, 2020, almost 2021? I mean, what are some of the big changes you've seen in the recruiting industry?
Big changes would be that candidates are not going to job boards anymore. It used to be you could throw up your job rec on a job board and have 50 people applying. That's not happening. Times have changed. Social media has been launched and is just the wave of today. And companies have to be incredibly creative to identify successfully their ideal match when they're looking for specific skill sets. That's actually the easy part, but to find the personality fit, the cultural fit that's going to mesh well with their corporate culture long term, that's the big challenge. And we have such a great success rate at doing that. Mike and I and our team, we basically will present 1 to 3 candidates and there's an offer. I mean, a lot of times it is one and done. And we have that relationship with our clients where I could pick up the phone and say, oh my goodness, Steve, you've got to meet with this person. They're not even on the market, but they're looking to explore this opportunity because of X, Y, and Z, and they'll set up an interview, and then I'll, of course, put together their presentation and their resume. But they trust us because our success rate has been, it's proof is in the pudding. So.
Right. Got it. So the relationships, and you've mentioned that a couple of times, building partnerships in the industry, that's something that's very important to you and Mike as you guys continue to grow the business. Right. Awesome. For those of you that are listening live, we're talking to Christina Martins. She is part of the Relevant Recruiter program right now. And we're going to be talking specifically about how she's utilized the program to help her with her efficiency in sourcing. If you guys can hear us, just give us a hi, a hello. Feel free to ask Christina any questions as we start to dive deep and dig into this here for those of you that are watching live. Christina, one of the things that we work on, right when you get into the program is your positioning. And we call it the standout, when we're working in the Relevant Recruiter method. How are we going to get you stand out from your marketplace? I mean, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what market are you trying to focus on? Have you been a generalist in the past? I mean, what's this journey been like for you?
So 80% of our clientele is manufacturing operations. And within that, we have dairy, we have food and beverage, CPG, some really well-known brands that you would recognize, nationwide people recognize that we service and have great relationships with. Accounting and finance was initially my specialty, our wheelhouse, and that was for many years, probably until about 2010 or 2012. And then we went into engineering. So mechanical, electrical, civil, but a lot of mechanical and aerospace, manufacturing engineering. That was an area of strength that we, tapped into. Mike's area of specialty is definitely on engineering. And then within the manufacturing operations, such as continuous improvement, leadership, supply chain, quality, they all go hand in hand. And a lot of these professionals have engineering backgrounds and they've worked to achieve to that level of quality manager or continuous improvement manager. And so we have these relationships with these amazing, talented professionals. And so it just branched out from there. But the accounting and finance is definitely one of our strengths. HR more recently, because a lot of our clients are in the HR arena. And so we've developed those trusting relationships with them where now we're working HR as an area of, so it's been very successful in those 3 key areas. We've made a few positive impacts in marketing, but I would definitely say accounting, finance, engineering, and HR is our area of strength and specialty.
Right. Now, with your online presence, I mean, for you personally, Christina, I mean, how are you trying to brand yourself and position yourself to what market? And because one of the things that we talk about is obviously how we're going to go kind of fish and how we're going to position ourselves in the market. But one of the things that you're talking about is that you're also taking what's coming to you and still servicing roles that may not be a part of your core market, but things that you can actually fill.
Right. So we're trying to establish ourselves as, for me personally, accounting and finance and HR. I know you don't want to hear that, but I just can't let it go. I've got so many great relationships. And then Mike is on the engineering side. Right. And with that comes other areas of, could be a GM, could be a plant manager, but they all have that engineering degree, that engineering background and area of expertise.
Beautiful. One of the other things that we're obviously working on, and I know this has helped you guys with some of your sourcing efforts, but we call it the LinkedIn lead machine within the program, which is us essentially finding ways to build our network and start conversations with people in the industry. But give us an example of how you were able to implement that strategy to help efficiently recruit your candidates or source your candidates more.
Yes, sure. First and foremost, a relevant recruiter that you're teaching your clients is incredible. It's unlike any other that we've seen. Mike and I have attended many webinars, many training conferences, if you will, even other programs, not many, but a handful of other programs. And this was the only one that delivered results within 30 days. I mean, within 30 days, we had identified and successfully recruited a candidate, an electrical engineer, for a client of ours that we've been working on since February. So, we had secured somebody 3 months later amidst this whole COVID outbreak and everything, who had an offer, but there was a hiccup in the background check out of everyone's control, and except for the person hired. But at that point, we then, started your program in August, and by September, we had an offer for somebody that came through your lead generation system. And the modules that we go through are very informative. They are very clear and concise and realistic. And I love the fact that you give us call to action items to do, which is like our homework in essence to the program. Right. And then we talk about that with you. So, you really assess and help us, guide us along the way. That one-on-one and in a group setting is just phenomenal too.
Oh, love the feedback. Thank you so much. I mean, how would you say this is really differing from what you were doing before? You kind of were doing it one way. What is the big difference about the way you're doing it now? And I know you're doing multiple things, but what we're talking about specifically.
So on the candidate sourcing side, we were able to identify 3 candidates within under 60 days through your program that all got offers. And that was something that we did not have before. It's saving us time. We're able to reach out to a more vast network of professionals, specifically by technical skills, industry, geographical location. I mean, we can really fine tune what we're looking for in each recruiting engagement we're working on. And so we're finding quality over a vast amount of people that we just didn't have that capability before. So we're really grateful for that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
One of the things you got it, and credit goes to you guys. You guys are awesome implementers and taking all the action and doing the work that I'm calling out. So, credit goes to you guys for implementation. What would you say, I know one of the things that people have kind of the stigma around automation is they immediately think, oh, if I'm going to automate something, it's going to become spammy. What's your experience been like that? Because it sounds like you've been able to keep the approach personalized still while doing this.
Yeah, your program has allowed us to add many more connections to our LinkedIn network, and they're personalized connections that we really are getting to know those who are connecting with us on a personal level, professionally, of course, but really find out how they're navigating through COVID-19, what's been their biggest challenge. We get to be very personal with these folks, and we love that because our business is all about relationships. It's relationship driven, and they know that it's genuine. They know it's not just some mass automated thing going out to like thousands of people. They know that's not how it is.
Cool. That's beautiful. And I love how you explain that there, because I think, one of the things that automation allows us to do actually gives us more time to, focus on the relationship, because we're leveraging something that's, creating more time for us in the day so we can spend more time, on those actual conversations. It sounds like it's exactly how it's worked for you guys. And that's how the whole program's built, is not to just hammer somebody and try to transact, but start a dialogue and have a conversation and build a relationship.
Exactly. And Mike is very techie on our team. He's kind of like the technical guru, if you will. But one thing that we've both been in agreement with is the fact that your program, there's kind of sky's like not even the limit, because there's so many different avenues you can go with what you're teaching us. It's limitless at this point, at least for us. We haven't hit a wall. We haven't we're learning new things every day and we're implementing new things every day. So it's been very advantageous for us. And he loves that aspect of it from a techie standpoint. Yeah. And I love it from obviously the relationship. I mean, it just meshes very well with the big picture of what we stand about.
Awesome. Love that feedback. So let's talk about the fun stuff that everybody usually gets hung up on a little bit. We've got the content conversion system. Before you got into the program, were you creating very much content on your own?
A little bit. We were out there on social media, but this actually pushes us to deliver more quality content. So it wasn't to the level that it's been lately. And the videos have been very effective. That was one thing that we definitely weren't doing. So you've really led us in that direction of digital media and storytelling, which is huge. It resonates so well with an audience in general, across multiple industries. And so people want to hear a story, and you really, aside from how to increase our network on LinkedIn, aside from that important aspect, and how to source candidates, which is our livelihood, the marketing piece is unlike anything else we've ever experienced. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it. What do you say about what was your personal, did you have any kind of hesitation with putting yourself out there and going on camera?
Oh. Definitely I did. And you made it so much more normal for us, because you'd say, don't overthink it, just do it. And having our member group where we would come together every week, a few times a week, and we have other resources that you've put us in alignment with, and we support each other. That's huge, because we all kind of collaborate. We're a group of folks going through the same thing and having the same challenges and the same fears, if you will, putting ourselves out there on video or live streams. So just seeing them going through it and, really encouraging one another is so empowering. It's great.
So will you share with everybody, were you a little bit honest getting onto this live stream today?
Yes, I was nervous for sure. I haven't done one yet. So awesome. Thanks for taking me out of my comfort zone.
Well, you're doing fantastic. If anybody was watching, give Christina a little kudos for stepping out of her comfort zone here and joining me live, because this is definitely not easy for people as they're getting started. So
thank you.
So happy to see how you've overcome all those kind of limiting beliefs and those fears and put yourself out there. I mean, have you been able to track any kind of results or conversations, or just people noticing you in the feed since you started creating content more consistently?
Oh, definitely. If you go to my LinkedIn page and you look at my posts, you'll see the comments that are coming through. Someone today, I did an analogy about playing poker and how, our Martins investment group will help you build your team that will be a royal flush. Yeah. And so someone commented on there and he said, I've never even played poker and this is amazing. So some of our clients that I've reached out to, even though they're maybe not liking it or commenting on it, they've said, hey, I see you're out there on LinkedIn. That's fantastic to see you. You've got some amazing content. I shared it with our team, whether it's employee retention strategies, hiring strategies, interviewing tips. We like to just kind of embrace our audience and really cater to them. So it's been quality. Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. You bring up such a good point. So many people get attached to the fact, or they view quality of their content that they put out, or they deem it to be successful or not based off of how many likes and comments. And we talk about this a lot in the group, that we're always trying to get more likes and comments, but a lot of times the people that are buying from us and the people that are going to use us to help them, they're the ones that aren't always liking and commenting. But it's great when you hear that feedback from somebody that sees you. And that's the cool thing about digital marketing, is it's kind of like a silent killer, if you will. Like, you don't know what's happening underneath, and all of a sudden people start, to compliment you. Hey, I've been watching your stuff. So it sounds like you've kind of had that experience with it.
Yes, absolutely. And they see it going through the feed, but maybe they just don't have time, or they mean to come back and comment. But that's not even the important thing. The important thing is that it's resonating well with them, and
Yep.
it's hitting home, and they find it of value, because every time we create something that we put out there, we want it to have value to whoever's looking at it or watching the video.
Awesome. Love the
Mhm.
feedback. I love the feedback. So, next things that we're going to be tackling for you is kind of our multi-channel approach. I mean, what are you kind of looking forward to in the next steps as you join me in the mastermind group? What are
Mhm.
some of the things that you hope to accomplish, or you're looking at, that you're curious to see what happens with?
Really developing our online brand and digital presence, which I know you can guide us through that, and just continuing to effectively generate, business, and find those companies that are hiring and utilizing an external recruiting team such as ours. That's very important to us. So creating those new relationships, and fostering even, the ones that we do have, making sure that when they do get the green light to hire again, we've got a pipeline waiting for them.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do and get you on some other channels, build the presence outside of LinkedIn. And, one of the things that we're going to focus on over the next couple of months is your Facebook presence, possibly even your YouTube presence, now that you're creating some videos. One of the big philosophies that we have in the Relevant Recruiter program is multi-channel. So we can really go up to our market, be, right choice, right place, right time, and make your efforts, and everything that we're doing more congruent across multiple channels. So you guys are doing the hard work with the content now. Now we get to go play and start spreading it out there. So it's going to be exciting for you.
That sounds amazing. We have some great ideas too, as far as like providing some interview tips for the career seekers that we're representing, so they can tune in at any time just from their mobile device. And then also for the client side, some hiring tips, recruiting strategies, things that they can just kind of keep with them and refer to when they may need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Going back to the content step, I mean, how have you? Content is one of those things with recruiting for a lot of companies. They haven't really ever done content in most cases, or they've kind of dabbled with it. But the thing that usually comes up is like prioritizing it in your day. How have you found time to create content, but also do the things that drive revenue, like talking to your candidates, talking to your clients, and things like that? Like, how have you been able to do that?
So that's another wonderful aspect of your Relevant Recruiter program, is you actually have a calendar that we're supposed to design according to our schedule and our daily needs, and what's open on our daily schedule, right? So that's one of your call to action items throughout the training program, is to put into our calendar our social media content, our email campaigns, and then of course sourcing and recruiting is what we do. But being able to follow that guideline has been extremely beneficial. And then I know through our Zoom calls and trainings, you've mentioned, blocking out how to time manage, basically.
Yep.
So you've really painted a clear picture of what we can do to respond to those LinkedIn emails, to respond to the feedback that we're getting. And that's helped keep us very organized.
Got it. Cool. So you're doing some time blocking then to get the content done.
It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done, right?
Exactly. And thank you for all those resources and tools, because, we didn't have to even think about it. You just like gave it to us. Like, here's what you can use for this. And we have been.
Awesome. I'm super happy to hear how, successful the program's been for you guys. And again, it's because you put in the work and show up every single day, every single meeting. You guys are consistent as hell. And so, like I said, the success goes back to you with everything that you've, implemented. What are you most nervous about heading into 2021? We're almost towards the end of 2020 here. I mean, heading into the new year, what are some of the things that kind of have you on edge a little bit?
Well, I don't want to get too political, but before all of this hit in March, and I'm sure you can attest, and our group has really talked about it, we were headed for our best year yet financially, from a business aspect. So I just hope that heading into 2021, we're prepared for companies to open up hiring again. They become creative with remote workspaces and staggering shifts. In manufacturing, you can't really do that because you have to be there to build the product.
Right.
A lot of them have now spaced out workstations and staggering shifts on the manufacturing floor, so people aren't coming into close contact with each other. Things like that. Once the hiring's ready to go, we're going to be ready to supply the quality hire to each client that has an opening, without having to wait. We're going to have people identified and ready to interview when that time comes. So that's exciting for us because we're really building that network.
Good. Yeah. I mean, that's all we can focus on now is kind of build that pipeline. And when everything kind of starts to turn, hopefully here sooner than later, it sounds like you're going to be positioned for success. That's awesome.
Yeah.
As we kind of wrap this thing up here, Christina, and thank you so much for joining me. I mean, what's one piece of advice you'd give anybody that's kind of watching right now?
Just to stay positive in your headspace, believe in yourself and you're capable of amazing things. I know that the world around us is ever changing right now. It is very unstable, but just believe in yourself and envision great things, because when you envision it, then good comes. And do the right thing. Always do the right thing. So
love it. That's phenomenal. Christina, thank you so much for hanging with me today and sharing, your experience working in the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Yeah. Looking forward to continuing working with you. For those of you that want to connect with Christina, take a look at Christina Martins on LinkedIn and take a look at what she's got going on there. Send her a connection request. If you guys are interested in learning more about the Relevant Recruiter program, just drop an I or a me in the comments below. I'll reach out to you. We can set up a time to see how it makes sense for you and your business. Christina, thank you again so much for joining me. For the rest of you guys, next week. Talk soon.
Bye, everyone.